All right, and we are beginning our next unit, which is Unit 6, and this is going to focus on the coordinate plane. And the good news about this unit is that it's almost all review, all right? But we're going to take a lot of the ideas and concepts that we've already talked about this year, and then we're going to look at them and examine them within the coordinate plane. So in our last unit, we talked about, okay, how do I classify polygons, right? How do I know something's a trapezoid or a parallelogram? We're going to be asking those types of questions again, but now we're going to seek those answers through the coordinate plane. All right, which means we're going to look at the context in a little different situation. So what today's lesson is going to focus on is just a little bit of a review of the coordinate plane. All right, make sure you're solid there. So we have our opener here. And so what I want you to do is just kind of think about the coordinate plane and what things do you remember about the coordinate plane? All right, so pause the video, take a minute or two, write out a few things, maybe label some things on the coordinate plane here, and flip back on and we'll go talk about some specifics here. All right, so let's see what you talked about or what you remembered, all right, with the coordinate plane here. So I'm going to jump down here and just fill in a little bit. So first, hopefully you remember that, hey, we have coordinates, right? And every coordinate is x and then y, right? And so that's left, right, okay, is x, and then up, down is y. All right, so when we look at our axis here, right, x, and then y, right? So our x-axis is our horizontal axis. And the y-axis is our vertical axis. All right, so when we think about this, and they cross right here at 0, 0, which is the origin. All right, so 0, 0. And then from the origin, if I go to the right, this is the positive x-axis. All right, so if I go to the left, that is the negative x-axis. All right, from the origin, if I go up, that is the positive y-axis. And from the origin, if I go down, all right, that is the negative y direction. All right, now, and we think about quadrants. Well, where the axes intersect and where they cross, notice that it divides our coordinate plane into 4 quadrants. And we label those starting here in the upper right-hand corner. This is quadrant 1. And then we go counterclockwise around the grid. This is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3, and then this is quadrant 4. All right. So the quadrants, right? Okay, are 1 to 4, right? Okay, so quadrants 1 to 4, and so basically that gives us a way of saying, hey, look in quadrant 1, right, or look in quadrant 3. So it's a way of communicating and helping us kind of focus in on specific parts of the coordinate plane. All right, so hopefully, all right, this is what you remember, all right? And if you didn't know some of that, that's great. That's why we're doing this lesson, all right, to review those skills. All right, so let's just go through a few practice problems here. So if you want to flip over here, all right, I'm just going to go through a hand full of problems with you here. And so notice what it says: label each quadrant in the coordinate plane below. Using the table, plot the point and identify which quadrant it lies in. And I'm going to put it here in parentheses, or axis, because some of these might fall on one of the axes. It could fall on the y-axis or the x-axis. All right, so once again, if we think about, like, I'm just going to go through the first row here in these 4 points with you. All right, and then if we want to go ahead and label our quadrants here, so this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. All right, so if I want to plot negative 2, 1, all right, I always start at the origin, and remember the first coordinate is x, all right, so that's left or right. If it's negative, I'm going to go left. If it's positive, I'm going to go right. So I'm going to go left 2 since it's negative 2. The second coordinate is my y. If it's positive, I go up. If it's negative, I go down. So that's positive 1, so I go right here. All right, so that's negative 2, 1, and that is in, notice, quadrant 2. All right, so negative 2, 1. And then notice now we go to 0, 8. So I'm at 0, 0, and notice x is 0, so that tells me do not move left or right. And then y is negative 8. So now that means go down 8. So from the origin, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right there. Okay, and so that is 0, negative 8. And so notice I'm not in one of the quadrants. I'm on an axis here, and so this is, we're just going to say y-axis here. So just know that if you fall on one of the axes, just write x-axis, y-axis. All right, let's look at the next point, negative 2, negative 3. So once again, I'm going to start at the origin. All right, x is negative 2, so that means go left 2. Y is negative 3, so now I go down 3. And so there's my next point right there. And notice this time, right, I fall in quadrant 3. All right, and then we look at our next point here. All right, 4, 0. So I'm at the origin, x is 4, All right, so that means go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice this time y is 0, so there is no up or down. So this time I will fall on the x-axis. All right, and that's really what we're going to do. So that's going to wrap up our video for this. So what you want to do, right, is go ahead and, all right, think about what we're doing here. We'll finish this and the next page in class. All right, so I will see you then.